other neighborhood initiatives. I recognize a lot of faces. Many of you have seen me running these meetings or meetings similar to this many times over the years. And I really want to thank everybody for taking time out of your schedule to come here in person. As many of you know, like our last couple of meetings have been via Zoom. And while some people love meetings on Zoom because of the flexibility they afford, other people have said, can we please have a meeting in person? So we're trying to fluctuate back and forth to try to, have opportunities that everybody likes. I'm really happy to see so many new faces that I don't recognize or that I've only seen on Zoom. I want to welcome you and tell you that we really, really value your input to this campus plan process over the last year and a half and as we go forward for the next 9 years. As you might remember, if you've been around, can you hear me first of all? I see some heads nodding. Okay. As you might remember, in 2024, a year and a half ago, Loyola kicked off, about almost 2 years ago, Loyola kicked off the public phase of our campus planning process. And it was the broadest and most interactive community engagement process with capital planning that we've ever had before. Because so much of it was able to be done interactively, online, with electronic surveys, electronic maps, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. We've gotten so much good feedback from the community very early in the process, and we've been able to share back to you what the university's needs are. So I describe this planning process as kind of like a double helix. There are the things that the university needs over the next 10 years. There are the things that the neighborhood wants to see over the next 10 years. And as we do it, we are looking for those opportunities where they overlap because we want to, we want to help improve the community as we're improving the campus. I'm sorry, I'm off script because I don't want to stand here and read to you. Okay, so our last town hall meeting was in December. I think some of you probably were there on Zoom, but I do want to reiterate because I think it's important, and my colleagues told me that it was important to reiterate why campus planning is important to Loyola University right now. As many of you have heard or have seen in the news or read, Generation Z and Generation Alpha, today's teenagers and children, are smaller in numbers than the millennials that came before them. The millennials was a huge generation. Fewer of these Gen Zs and Gen Alphas are going to be graduating from high school, period. It's a demographic shift. And then even fewer of them are planning to attend college as people are starting to question the value of a college education. It's all been very public in the news. We have known this was coming for a long time, and we've been planning for it. But then the pandemic hit, and these same kids experienced up to 2 years of virtual schooling, which put them not only in smaller numbers, not only academically behind, but also they're behind their predecessors in that they're struggling more socially and emotionally, and in ways that have never traditionally been addressed at the college level. We want to change that. We want to be able to be a home for all students. And so the purpose of this planning and development was not to grow the campus, not to suddenly double our numbers of students, but to make sure that we have a campus that is prepared for the success of these future students. And we have to do that in a way that never stops operating, right? So we have to keep running all of our programs, even while you'll hear about some buildings that are coming offline or even being demolished. So it's a really tight, it's not an easy process for the people that are doing that, right? Like, where do we park you because we're tearing down your building, but you need to continue to do your job for 2 years until we can build a new building. So it's really like a domino effect of things happening, and we appreciate your willingness to try to follow along, and we appreciate your understanding that sometimes things change, and we'll talk a little bit about some changes. Okay, so preparing the next generation of students has been nearly impossible for some colleges and universities. You may have heard in Chicago, both Columbia College and DePaul University have been teetering on the brink of bankruptcy the last few years. Robert Morris College and Roosevelt University merged into one a couple of years ago. John Marshall Law School is no longer a freestanding school, but it was assumed by the University of Illinois at Chicago. It's now the Law School of UIC. And at a smaller level, Kendall Culinary College became part of National Louis University. So this is happening here in ways that we see every day or read about in the Tribune and the Sun-Times. It's happening nationally. We feel like we're prepared. We don't anticipate any of these crises to be happening at Loyola. We've been planning, we've been budgeting. We plan to be an independent Jesuit Catholic university in Chicago, serving primarily first-generation college students who are primarily from Illinois and the surrounding states. And we will not sacrifice our commitment to first-generation students, Chicago Public School students, Pell Grant eligible students, or immigrant students, regardless of documentation status. Finally, I want to point out that Loyola is a Jesuit Catholic university. We're one of 27 Jesuit Catholic universities in the country, and we are one of the top 2 or 3 largest. We have approximately, Kana will talk about the specific numbers, we have approximately 10,000 undergraduate students, and those undergraduates all live here, work here, go to classes here, and do their extracurricular activities here on this 52.5 acres that we share with Edgewater and Rogers Park. We are confident that we'll be able to keep this going for decades to come. So before I talk anymore, I want to introduce the people that are here with me. Kana Henning, my boss and the Vice President for Facilities, who's overseeing the entire project. Patrick Brawley, sitting down here in the front row, is going to talk to you. He's the Assistant Vice President for Facilities and the Head University Architect. Summer Lawson and Cecilia Rodriguez, I think many of you know or have run into. They're Directors of Neighborhood Initiatives, working in lots of different ways every day in the neighborhoods of Edgewater and Rogers. Summer and Scarlett.
In the middle?
Oh, Scarlett's right there in the middle with the little camera. She's our student assistant. Neither one of them are technology experts.
At all.
At all. But for this meeting, they are going to try to record it and capture it and make it available online on our YouTube channel after the fact so that we can post it. The microphone might make that a little difficult. We're going to do our best.
Yeah, we're going to do our best.
You can come up.
Well, I just wanted to share, so because we are recording, we're just recording the speakers in the front. There will be time for Q&A, so your question will be, heard on video. And since we don't, unfortunately, have working mics right now, which I don't know why, but
it says in the script we have 1 mic.
Yes, but we don't. It's not working. I'm not. All I got is 1 mic, right? No. So I just ask that you project so we can make sure your question is heard on camera, on any sound, and that's it. Now I'll turn it back over there.
Okay, I can't thank Summer and Scarlett enough. I mean, Summer has, de facto over the last 2 years become our technology expert, and we really appreciate and we value lifelong learning. So thank you very much, Summer. Now I'd like to turn the meeting over to Kana. She's going to set the stage for the campus plan.
Thanks, Jennifer. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Loyola. Welcome to Flanner Hall. This is our state-of-the-art chemistry building, so I hope you appreciate it as much as our students do. So before we jump into the capital plan or the campus plan that we've been sharing now over the course of the past year and a half in different forms of development and iteration as we've developed new concepts and new ideas. We bring them back and we have conversations, whether those are in Zoom meetings or in a format like this. But before we get into those conversations, I just want to kind of give you a lay of the land about Loyola right now because it's the start of the semester. And the 10th of the term is sort of a magic moment in time and date whenever institutions collect all of their enrollment data. We're not quite there yet. It is not yet 10th of term, but I can tell you where we stand now. So Loyola is an enrollment-driven institution. Enrollment matters deeply to us in ways that, because it really impacts our financial health year over year. Our current total enrollment is 16,674 students. That is down about 20 students from last year. And as Jennifer mentioned, about 10,000 of those students are primarily located here at the Lakeshore campus, and the remaining students are either at our downtown Water Tower campus or out in Maywood at the Health Sciences campus. We are down about 125 freshmen this year. That is, difficult news for us to take, but we, as Jennifer mentioned, we knew this was coming. We knew that we've been up against the realities of demographics and the demographic cliff. And so we've been preparing and continue to understand what that means for us as what the right size of an institution Loyola should plan to be into the future, as we think about what higher education as an industry will look like in the future. And that's been a critical part of our planning process for this campus plan. Although we are down 125 freshmen, we are up 50 new nursing students, and you'll hear why that's an important stat later on as we talk about the need for our new nursing and chemistry building. Nursing is a program on the move. It is on the rise. I think we can all agree and understand that there is a need for healthcare professionals in serving the city of Chicago, serving us into the future. And our School of Nursing is one of those programs that we know will continue to see increased enrollment. And we need to therefore have a facility that's going to be able to absorb that enrollment, that enrollment growth and potential that we have. Our graduate and professional programs are up about 75 students this year. We're at about 4,900 graduate and professional students. Again, mostly based out of the Water Tower and Health Sciences campus, but we do see some of those graduate programs here at the Lakeshore campus. And our residence halls are full at 4,780 students who live with us on campus in residential housing. Although we do know that many of our additional students live in housing that's run by our Lakeside Management investment property portfolio, and then also in the neighborhood and in the community. And many of them are your neighbors in the neighborhoods of Rogers Park and Edgewater. So tonight, we are here a little bit over a year since we began the public phase of our 10-year comprehensive plan. And, I was here whenever we did our campus plan in 2004 and 2014. And I can say that this process has been by far the most collaborative and comprehensive plan that we've done today. And I'm excited about where it's going to take Loyola in the future. And that it's going to help us solve a lot of problems that we know we have, but we also, through our community engagement process, look forward to trying to come together to solve mutual problems that we find ourselves in together as neighbors. Now that we're further along in knowing and understanding what our needs are, much further than we were last year, we're here to just update you, and we're going to continue to update you as this, as our development of these big picture ideas and concepts start to actually become more concrete and more solidified over time. And so we'll talk about our projects in a handful of locations and areas around campus. First, we'll talk about Loyola Avenue west of Sheridan Road. Then we'll talk about the 6300 block of Broadway, specifically the east side of Broadway. Replacement for the Centennial Forum building that was demolished back in 2024, and then an update about the nursing and science building that is to be located where the former Campion Hall sat and is currently under demolition. I will start by addressing West Loyola Avenue west of Sheridan, and what I'm hoping is that as this conversation goes on, we'll pause, take questions about the topic that we're talking about, but recognizing that other people will address other topics. If you've got a question about a future topic, if you wouldn't mind just waiting until you've had a chance to hear from those folks, then that'll make sure that we keep the conversation going. So I want to address and talk about West Loyola Avenue west of Sheridan. I was prepared to present to you today some concepts for what development on West Loyola Avenue would look like. We had been in development of, oh, thank you. Oh yeah, thank you. I forgot about the slides. Thank you. Do you mind? Yeah.
No, not
thank
at all.
you. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Okay. We'll talk. So, so I was prepared to show you what we were envisioning because we were well on our way to developing a concept for what a development of the property that we own on West Loyola would look like. And then in June of this year, we had a meeting with the CTA. And we found out about their plans for the second phase of the red and purple line modernization. And those plans significantly alter the property that we own on West Loyola Avenue and consumes much of the north side of West Loyola Avenue. So we went back to the drawing board and said, okay, putting brick and mortar development on the north side of West Loyola, not a good idea. So let's look at the south side of West Loyola Avenue and figure out what we can do there. What we intended to show you today was a plan that would have an accessory building for our programs that house our, or that serve our ROTC program and military science programs with accessory green space, because we heard during the community engagement process that the top two concerns of the community are safety and security and access to green space and recreation. And we wanted to provide a space that would serve a community need as well as ours. And then on July 3rd, we got a letter from the Department of the Army that said, your ROTC program is no longer going to be in the, is no longer going to operate the way that it did, the way that it currently does. And we had to quickly shift and understand what that meant. How big was our program going to be? What does that mean from an actual facility standpoint? What do we need to have on our campus to serve our OTC, if anything? And then 2 days ago, we got another letter from the Army that said, never mind, now we think we are going to keep your program. So we are continuing to change and react as we are fed new news that is somewhat out of our control. And so I don't have anything to share with you today because we have been changing and redrawing and redrafting and reiterating what those thoughts are for West Loyola Avenue. We are consuming this new information, understanding what it means, validating what that means, reaffirming for ourselves that we will continue to have an ROTC program that is that operates the way that we can envision it operating into the future, and therefore that will help drive some plans around a development of green space and a facility on West Loyola. So my hope is that in the next 6 months, when we meet again on Zoom or whatever that looks like, whatever the next gathering point is, I hope that we will have something to show you then. But it really does. We have been just constantly having to shift and change our plans and react to new news. The thing that we do continue to know, that we feel confident about, is that the geometry of the site of West Loyola Avenue will dramatically change whenever the CTA moves forward with their Phase 2 red and purple line modernization. And so that, for sure, is changing the way we think about how we consider our development on that site. I will pause there. Yes?
So that means the CTA and you are trying to work together?
Yes, we are. So, yeah, thank you for asking that. Loyola, CTA, the 49th Ward Alderwoman's office, we have been in close communication about this, and we've agreed that we will continue to work together as three parties, full visibility to everything at the same time, that the three of us, and CDOT, because there's going to be dramatic changes to West Loyola Avenue itself, as a result of that development.
And this includes the RG's building?
Correct.
And the two vacant lots?
That is correct. Their plans basically consume about 3/4 of that lot.
Okay.
And also the RG's.
Yes, that lot is, yes, in particular. Yes, their plans consume about 3/4 of that lot. Yes.
Did the CTA tell you when they plan to do something?
Yeah. They fully acknowledge that they are in their early phases of planning. They don't have funding secured yet. They are going to be going through the same the same planning process that they did for the phase 1. What they've done south is fantastic. I mean, transformative. It's wonderful. And we're starting to anticipate what that even means with that viaduct gone. That will transform even, how we think about east-west movement between our own campus buildings. But yes, it is a significant process. So they said that they will probably, within I think 2 years, be in their environmental study phase, and then they wouldn't plan for any acquisitions of property until at least 3 to 5 years from now. So they've kind of given us a heads up about what we can anticipate. Yeah. Yes.
Does that kind of demolition of the existing building wait until that CTA plan is finalized, so it's not just empty space there?
The question is whether or not we will delay demolition of the building until CTA's plans are firm, and the answer is no. The building will be entirely vacant at the end of September, as of September 30th, and we won't leave a vacant building standing for 5 years. It will be demolished at the expiration of that lease. It's at the end of September.
Is there a reason not to rent out the vacant building for the next 5 years if it's going to be vacant?
There is. Its condition is deplorable. Yeah, we would never rent that to people to live in. Go ahead.
And you want to leave the gravel, all that block is going to be gravel now?
I'm sorry, could you say it again? Is the whole block what?
It's going to be gravel.
Oh, on the north side, yes, after the Archie's building, or after the 1224 Wasilla building is demolished, that will for now be a gravel lot until we understand more about our plans to do for the south side of the street, yes.
There's no, like, Loyola never consider to put something grass or something so it doesn't look so bad because
That is our intention,
you have there, it says parking, but it doesn't, it's not really parking, it's a gravel.
yes. That is our intention, and like I said, we will be coming back with our plans for developing that site, but there will be a period of time where, when that building is demolished, there will not be anything ready to develop on that site. We were prepared to begin development spring of next year. We are not there yet because our plans have had to be changed so many times, and we've had to rethink where parking is located as opposed to where program is located and where green space would be located. So we might be shifting parking to one side of the street and green space development to the other side of the street. But we don't have a timeline yet of that.
I just want to say, the third building when my son was in Loyola High School, my son is doing a master now. So it's been a while, like at least the safe parking would be like real parking. So we don't want another 20 years.
Yeah. We recognize and acknowledge and are completely aware that these properties have sat vacant for too long. They have been seen as future development sites for far too long. We understand and recognize that. We acknowledge that and I wish you knew we were prepared to show you concepts so that we would be in the ground by come spring of 26. We've had to just change those thoughts, so unfortunately our timing is delayed, but we are committed to development on that site. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I just have a difficult time wrapping my mind around the fact that we're told one thing and then a whole other thing is what happens. For instance, the Sophia Garden being taken away from the community, that has been morale depressing situation that it sits as a gravel lot. It's not used for parking, it's not used for anything. Maybe a crate of some sort is there. And now to find out that you're going to tear down this very interesting, uplifting, architecturally interesting, and you're saying it's unlivable, but I mean, who lived there? Because people live there just recently. It's tearing down a whole area, one after another, and we have to just sit and watch this depressing destruction, and you're saying, I believe that you believe it's gonna happen, but I'm not seeing that because I'm breastfeeding my baby at the Sophia Garden, watching the Kofler Center have their garden, and now it has been sitting there. It's not just we'll do it later. It's depressing, it's defeating, it's so counter to what you're claiming Loyola is about, which is community and green space. But we all have to keep tolerating this destruction, and destruction of community. What has been built has been vital, really attractive. If I, for students to go to Archie's, to go to Roman Susan, to see this vibrancy happening, and to just raise it, and then let it sit for years and years and years with this, oh, we're going to do something in the future, it doesn't add up. I just wonder what you have to say about that.
Yeah, so I acknowledge and understand what you're saying. Those lots have been vacant too long. Full stop. I agree. They have been. They have been vacant too long, and unfortunately, we have never had, our last campus planning process didn't address what those lots should be. They didn't. They plain and simple didn't. This one does. We know that we have a need for additional green space. We know that the community has a need for green space. We intend to develop those sites into green space. Our plan anticipates that our original plan was that we were going to be ready to begin construction next year. I can't promise you that. I can't.
What's going to be built?
Right.
Another building that's ugly when you have this beautiful garden and then 3 other vacant lots. It doesn't make sense.
So I understand.
Am I wrong?
I understand what you're saying, but I have to take into consideration.
I'm sorry to be so outspoken. I just wonder.
Sure.
Go ahead. Just to clarify, so you said that the building's going to be demolished after everyone moves out in September, right?
Yes.
So, like, is it going to literally be demolished, like right after, on September 30th? Or do you have a date in mind, or is it just kind of also up in the air?
Yeah, we would begin mobilizing the site within weeks.
30 days.
Yeah, 30 days after. Yeah.
That is so depressing. That is so depressing.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
What was just to clarify, what did the CTA tell you about that property in particular?
They will need to, procure. They will want to procure about 2/3 of the site from us. So they see that site as a critical part of how they intend to reorient the train station. They intend to make it a red and purple line stop, so that we widen the tracks. They intend to straighten the tracks to eliminate the curve, and therefore the width that they would need to develop that station would encroach upon about 2/3 of the 1224 West Loyola site.
What you see on the screen, this is what we took to the CTA as an option. They then took a line over it and showed us where that's going, and that what is orange is new pavilion. 70% of that was in their footprint. So we had to stop. We had to reimagine, as Kaden was saying.
He said, what is that orange box says new pavilion, I don't know if you can see that, but 70% of that building was crossed off when the CTA said, just, this is approximate. Again, the CTA has not announced any plans, I want to be clear about that. They were just trying to work with us, to this gentleman's point, in transparency. They have not done a full engineering study of this site, but they kind of essentially said, there's going to be a line through here that we're going to need to acquire, and that takes out 70% of what is a little green lawn there in a triangle, and about 50% or more than 50% of that orange building. So essentially, everything that is the 1224 West Loyola building and a good portion of the vacant lot just to the west. So we are going to do something there. We're not going to build any buildings there because the CTA is going to tear them down. Right. But we have, what Ken is saying, we've heard from the community that, and the development partner goes away, and that's what happens. So we hear you and agree with you. It is time to put these parcels back to, at a minimum, beautification, if not
grass.
active use.
Well, and so to that point, one of the things that is lacking west of Sheridan Road is university infrastructure. We have no IT over there. We have no fiber. We have no telecommunications. We have no way of connecting our campus infrastructure west of Loyola, west of Sheridan Road. And so in order to anticipate or enable future development, we are this fall going to be undertaking an infrastructure project to start bringing all of our telecommunications west of Sheridan Road so that it's landed there and ready so that whenever we are, which will be a significant undertaking, not just from a logistics standpoint, but financial undertaking. So it is to enable as a first step, our ability to then, once we have solidified our plans, we are coordinated with CDOT, we are coordinated with the CTA, we are coordinated with the Alderwoman's office, we are prepared to then develop a project on that site. We now have the backbone and the infrastructure to be able to do so. That includes putting our blue light campus safety phones around the site, adding security cameras, adding safety and infrastructure to West Loyola as well. So that is the first step that we are undertaking this fall as just a way to start putting a stake in the ground and recognizing that that'll help enable us into the future. Yes, go ahead.
As the demolition process takes place, will there be additional rat abatement in that area?
Yes, there will be. In addition to the demolition contractor's requirements, Loyola undertakes its own private additional abatement in and around the site, and so we would implement that at that site as well. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Does Loyola have any plans to take over any of the St. Ignatius campus, former?
At this time, we do not. We are aware of and supportive of the Mission Center's efforts to and the proposal that they've put forward related to the use of St. Ignatius Parish, the church. And we're very supportive of their efforts, and we would look forward to an opportunity to support them. But there is currently there is nothing in place where the university is positioned currently as it relates to those relationships to purchase that property. We would like to. I think if there is an opportunity that serves the community best, really, to help serve the Mission Center, serve Loyola's needs, serve the community needs, but right now there is not an active arrangement in place that facilitates that. So I want to be cognizant of time and move on. So I saw your hand raised. I would love to answer your question, but so go ahead, and then after that I want to move on to.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, you had your hand raised for a while, so please.
So the building that's going to be demolished, how many units is it currently?
There were 30, 23.
I think there's 30 residential units. There were 22 people living in them.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, vacant. And then there's four hotels.
And I'm assuming that the condition is in rough enough shape that it's not feasible to renovate the building, that it would be the better option to demolish and then rebuild something new.
Correct. Yes.
So, do you have a temporary, like a plan to do like a really cheap, quick build to make the area like pedestrian friendly, so that like when the CTA acquires a lot, that you're not spending an arm and a leg to make this look nice for people to use, basically, or?
Yeah, that's something we've talked about
Okay.
with CDOT and with the CTA, and recognizing that, for instance, that that little leg of West Loyola where it arrives at Sheridan, it's like a jumble of lights and crosswalks, and nobody knows who's on first when and who's to cross and who's to go. So we've talked about that, and our intention would be to help. It would be a project that would help solve these problems for everybody. But in terms of an intermediate project, good question. We haven't talked about that, what that could look like. But that's a
really
good
cheap
question.
and easy that's
Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Yeah.
And I just want to say that I appreciate this town hall and I appreciate your forthrightness and the troubles that you're going through. What the current administration I'm sure has played a major role in it's playing a major role on the CTA because they don't have any funding secured federally, which is what's delaying this entire process. So I imagine it's we're living with the consequences and it's hurting all of us. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Patrick. Oh, we're 2 minutes. Let me have time. We're good. I think we're on time. All right, good. All right, good.
No, I got it. All right, good evening, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. I was practicing earlier my professor speech, but I'll just talk about these projects. So we got a couple projects, as Kina was mentioning. Going to start on the south end of campus for this. So I'm going to go back to the map. Fancy pointer opportunity to take it. So Lake Michigan here, we are sitting in Flanner Hall right now, right where the red dot is. What we're going to talk about now is coming south over here on Broadway. We have 2 projects over there I want to talk about. The first one up is 6317. So this is an existing facility along Broadway. We're currently in the programming and design phase. And what we're looking at doing is actually, as we talked about with our students and where we are, we know when Jennifer talked about where our commitment is to the students, we also know in order to have those students be successful, we need a lot of wraparound services to make sure they have the best success. So part of that is building in that success, and that really starts right in the classroom as well as in the resources. Some of those resources is the library, so we're looking at how to make sure we're advancing that opportunity for research, scholarship, and commitment to faculty and student exchange. Part of that is finding a way to store books in a density volume to create space. So we're exploring the idea right now, like I said, programming and design, for a new facility to store books at this location. So this is what the facility looks like currently. It's the home of our campus mail. If you're a student or faculty or staff here, you've probably been down here to pick up a package. It's a really great one-story kind of building, warehouse on one side, front of house transaction. This will be coming down as a demolition or deconstruction as it is these days, because 90% of material is recycled in some form or another. And then we'll have a new building coming online to that space. So again, we're looking at construction somewhere in the 26, 27 timeframe, and substantial completion is not yet known because I haven't even submitted for a permit yet, but this is what we're targeting. We want to be out in front so you understand these projects. These are really on the bleeding edge of where we're going. And then what is the opportunity there? So talk about what the project is, well, what's allowed? So this is same as we've shown in previous meetings with you all. This is what the opportunity is. This isn't necessarily saying what the opportunity will be, but this is looking at what's within our right. This sits within our PD. We're allowed to build to 90 feet in height here in a 0 lot line lot to lot because that's what exists. So this is looking at about 58,000 square feet total, but we're looking to be probably half of that is really what we need programmatically. So that's where we're starting with this project, leading edge of where we're going, a project you'll see more about in the coming months as we engage further in that process, advancing this. Now we're going to jump up the street, so we're at 6317, which is just right down here. Now we're up at 6347. If you've been up and down Broadway, or if you saw any of the news over the past weekend, you probably saw this building but weren't maybe paying attention to it. But this building currently has no facade on the front of it. This is an adaptive reuse of an acquisition that the university made back in September of last year. This is what it looked like when we acquired it. This was a really poor performing facade from an energy perspective. It just leaked like a sieve from an air, thermal, and water. It's been ripped off. What you see out there now is the concrete superstructure. And this is a reuse of the building where we're bringing in 5 classrooms, some facility services, and officing, about 50 offices to meet the needs of the institution. And as Jennifer said, we have to work and live and develop all at the same time. So this building is actually serving as a bit of a flex for us. So people that are already here, and a flex in terms of space, not muscle. But people will come to this space in the interim while we build new spaces. So it's really as a flex. People may be in this space for a year, maybe 2 years, as we keep progressing through our design and planning progress. So this is in progress. I have demo listed on here. That's interior demo. There's a lot of structural modification that we're doing just to make it better connected. There was like a mezzanine floor in there that really didn't work, floor to ceiling height, so that's coming out just so we can maximize that. You will also see, if you're somebody that is in the community and walks Broadway, fortunately or unfortunately, progress, but unfortunately maybe for you, you may see some interference because we have underground utilities that we have to tie into, which sit out on Broadway, so we will have some signage. Obviously, we'll make it safe, but there will be a portion of time where we're going to have utility cuts going through there, and we'll limit access on that east side during that phase. We anticipate that being in October. You'll see brick going up very soon. Our goal is to have that in and weather tight by December, and then looking at substantial completion for August of 2026, because we need to get using this building as we look at these other projects and plans. All right, now we're going to jump up the street. This project has been talked about, so we were just talking about the CTA. Here's the CTA station here, Sheridan Road, Loyola Avenue, and then the university campus, kind of in its bulk integrity, is just off here to the southeast. And this bright yellow building is currently the home of Campion Hall. That is a deconstruction that will be starting sometime between September 16th and October 1st. Part of the reason that timeline has shifted a little bit is you may have seen the fire department in there, a lot of fire trucks. We've got a great partnership with our first responders. When we have opportunities like this where we're deconstructing, we allow them to come in so they can do training because it's a real life experience for them to practice going through a door, through a window, jumping a fence, what they have to do to respond naturally. So while they were in there, nobody was exposed, but they go in full equipment. We found we actually had a few areas that we didn't get all of the bad, dirty stuff in there. So we're doing some last minute asbestos cleanup so that we're keeping the site clean. We can't do demolition or deconstruction until we have that clean bill of health. That's something that's obligated by the city. So we're in there right now cleaning up that last piece. Then we have to have last inspections by the city come in. We get sign off, and then we get our demolition permit. So that's where we've got this window of September 16th to October 1st, where we anticipate starting that. As soon as that comes down, we will just keep moving forward with our construction. You'll see larger mobilization with earth retention. That's so we're not disturbing kind of the below ground and the adjacent infrastructure of the city and the neighborhood. And then we'll immediately go into foundations, which gets into some excavation, and obviously the superstructure to support the whole building. And this is anticipated as an August 2028 completion date. So there's the Campion Hall as it exists today. This project is being supported by a grant that we have from the state, the Illinois Board of Higher Education. That's what's really dictating schedule line for us. There's an expiration date on that. So we've been advancing this based on the procurement process obligated through there on the expenditure. This is looking now at some renderings. We've been working in sharing these with the community. This is where we stand with the massing and the finishes of this. So this is a view looking from the south, looking toward the northeast. So Lake Michigan is off to the right. The CTA, you're all sitting in it, looking at the building. Loyola Avenue, Sheridan right in front of you. So this is that view to the south. This is where the primary entrance would be into the building. And then you would cross Loyola Avenue onto the balance of the campus. This is a view from the north. So now you are, well, maybe Chipotle or a little bit further north, looking south. Lake Michigan is off to the left. CTA is over here on the right. We have the facade on the north side looking at that. Again, this is a chemistry, biochemistry, forensics, and nursing building. That is the primary user, which is driving a lot of the articulation in the facade as we look at it's a science building where we have labs, where we have simulation, to try to tie that stuff together. And while we see a lot of glass on here, a lot of this also is spandrel glass, meaning there's structure behind it, and it's actually not day-lit or illuminated behind there. Just aesthetically, it's coming off that way, just so we get some just similarity and a common language versus all these interruptions that are in there. And then this is a view of what you're looking at along Sheridan. So today it's a little bit different, but we're looking to pick up the same vocabulary. This has been coordinated with CDOT. The right-of-way is here along this edge. This is all in the public way. These are improvements that we are making as part of the project and obligated through CDOT. So that's all being coordinated with them through this process. The other project we want to talk about is the Centennial site. As we called it, it says Milady there. That's an odd Google tag. But this is the Centennial site. We were just talking about the nursing building over here. Centennial is here, which is Student Success Center. It's a project that is currently in program and design. This is something we are looking to get approval from our board and leadership to say move forward, but we are advancing under the guise that this is a necessary part of our program at the university to maintain the density of students that we're looking for and the success that we want them to have. So again, similar to 6317, this project is in the early programming and design phase. Our goal is to try and get this project caught up with the nursing forensic science building so that we can get this project being built. Not exactly concurrently, but we'd like to target this to be completed at the same time. And the reason behind that is really because of all of you sitting in here. We really see what it is as an impact for us to be in the community. We want to, as opposed to open one building and then start a whole nother construction project, our goal is to try and get this in at one time so we can minimize the disruption in terms of the duration of time. So that is something that we are currently working towards in that aspect.
Excuse me,
Yes.
what is a student success?
So great question. Student Success Center, as we define it, is first year, second year advising as we have it here, testing accommodations that students may have, as well as tutoring, writing, all of the services. It isn't necessarily in the classroom, but it's in support of the students getting their education.
So it's basically offices and classrooms.
And there's classrooms. So that's another piece of this. We have classrooms. This beautiful room that we're in here, this will go away as this building is removed. I need to replace that. I need additional auditoriums, so there'll be auditorium spaces that are a bit more modern in today's teaching contemporary. We call it kind of turn the team is what we're looking at. So as opposed to me looking so high up, everybody be a bit more level and accessible in there. So this building will also house those spaces as well. Yes?
So far we've seen several buildings that are, that have come down, will be coming down. The new building, which to me is an interesting little bright spot on Sheridan, and it's not very high. If I were drawing sort of a story of what I view Loyola as doing, it would be the hungry monster taking over a neighborhood with these creating caverns under this sort of selling us this idea that it's such a slick idea. There's so many other creative solutions that could come up with. If you just walk around the neighborhood, it's like, oh, there's Loyola strikes again, and Loyola strikes again, and there's a gravel lot. Like, you live in the neighborhood because I do. When I walk my dog, and it is I grew up in Rogers Park, so I've watched what Loyola has done to the character, to the architecture, to the unique quality of each building. These little buildings are cool. They're beautiful. They're interesting. They add character. They add like the life. It's not just Loyola and your gigantic glass, pretty ugly in my opinion, you know, as someone who studied architecture, those blue bricks are interesting and can have character. And now you're going to block all the light because it's going way higher. That nurse building is much higher and big. It's just massive. And it just is more of the same, more of the monstrous, anonymous, eating up. It's just almost like if I were writing a children's book. It's like, like this, under this like smile of like for this Jesuit friendly thing. It's such a lie. It's so not true what you're saying. It's just, yes, we need progress, right? We need progress, but not the way you're doing it. It's that beautiful bungalow on Winthrop. You did not need to tear that down. It was so interesting. As somebody who appreciates the character, the beauty, the event, the uniqueness, essentially, of what a building can hold for a neighborhood, you're just tearing it down, and you slowly, and then saying, oh, we're going to rebuild. But eventually, like who's keeping track of the gravel lots? Like how many are there now? Does anybody have a number? 5? So we're talking how many more now? How many more projects? When are you going to stop? When is it enough? Like you're ruining this neighborhood.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
But we had a campus plan. It's a 10-year plan. We brought that to the community, and we expressed our goal is to solve our needs, which is 1 million square feet, to solve that within our existing holdings. So while what we see as progress and a timeline of duration toward that progress is different for each of us, totally respect that. We've got a timeline we have to work with. We have funding that is available for us to achieve those goals, and we're working to do that. We certainly hear the community. We're looking to turn that page. We're standing here being as forthright and honest with you with the information that we have as it's coming to us. So we're looking to make progress with what we have on that. Yes?
As a member of the community, I think the designs are gorgeous. I love them. But my concern is, are you planning on building any new student housing?
It's a great question.
Because I think we definitely need more student housing because students are putting a lot of pressure on the rental market in Edgewater. And I want Loyola to succeed. It's a valuable community partner, but also we really need to build more housing. And I urge Loyola to consider using these empty parcels to build more housing.
Thank you. Great statement. It is something we consistently discuss. Yes. He's up in the back corner.
Hi. I would just like to say, I know that
We can't hear you down front. I'm so sorry. Could you give us a little volume?
I know that Loyola can build beautiful buildings because I've seen in the heart of the campus, there is a new building, a new brick building. There's one of 3 buildings that look very similar. It has a lot of detail. I don't know the name of it. It goes 3 buildings, 2 existing, one of them new that matches the one on the other side. That is the older building.
I think you're talking about Cuneo.
Yes.
I think he's talking about that.
Yes.
That face the information common that has made this a wonderful green space. So what I would ask, kind of in response to her comments, is that you can take some of that design sense and apply it to the new buildings. Because I would have to agree that the nursing building, it's very volumetrically rectangular, but there's nothing about it that's pretty. There's nothing.
I disagree.
There's no ornamentation. That's
We
a
disagree
small
with you.
scale. And I know you can do it because you've done it before. It's like the Harry Potter thing. I know I can do it because I've done it. So if you can do that for these 2 big buildings that are on Broadway, this one that I don't know what it's going to look like at all, and the nursing building, and have them relate to each other, and have them relate back to the heart of the campus, I think that would help everyone. I think it would make the students know that this is the extent of the campus. It still looks like other buildings in the campus. It's not just the architect that do whatever they want on whatever. So,
Thank you.
Thank you for explaining all this. I greatly
Sure.
appreciate it.
Yes. We got a lot of hands. We're going to go right here and around the gentleman right in front. There's a couple more, yes. Yes. Yeah.
Can we
You wanna
hold
do that?
questions for a minute so we can just finish what he was presenting, and then we'll take a question?
Yeah, happy to answer them. Let's
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
mean-
Great suggestion. Thank you.
Because you do have other pictures.
Yes. So this is the site as it stands today for the Centennial site. which is an open lot. This is a future development that we were talking about with the Student Success Center. Similarly, this is what we're allowed to build within our right. We have not designed this building. We are just in the beginning phases of programming. So all we're doing is we're talking similar as what we talked about before. This is just what we're allowed within our rights to build. We're looking to solve our needs within our property. This is what the mass could be. I don't anticipate us being this large, consuming all of this maroon. There's some obligations that we have to have from a code with some offsets, but this is what we're looking to do in terms of solving that, because this gets close to what our needs are in terms of meeting our classroom, teaching spaces, as well as the student success access points to what's there. Yes?
Sorry, just on a very technical question. On the setbacks,
Yep.
the 44 feet is from the street itself, not from the sidewalk.
Correct, that's from the curb.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
And I see you soon. That's all I have, so I'll open the questions. Go ahead.
I know you know me from other meetings, but I guess my question is, is this nursing building, are these final drawings of what it's going to look like?
Yes, these are what we have as approved concepts right now.
Okay, so then is this you sharing it with the neighborhood? Because this has been, we've had a couple meetings with people who live on the street that are really going to be dramatically impacted by that building. And we've been told that these are just preliminary, and we've been waiting to know what they're going to look like. And we wondered if you were going to address a lot of the concerns that we've raised for several months really consistently. And we have yet to see a final drawing unless this is it.
This is it. I mean, we've been with you all, walking you through what our progress has been and how we've been adjusting with feedback. And so this is, in our minds, the culmination of that. I understand in the eye of the neighbor that lives there that may not feel as though it was 100% genuine to your specific request. We feel we are making concessions as best we can to still meet our program, but this is where we're at. Happy to speak with you afterwards specifically over any concerns as well.
Well, my question is, we've seen a lot of drawings from the campus perspective, but a drawing from Sheridan Avenue, but there's no drawing from the perspective of the neighborhood and the 100-year-old houses and people who live there. And I guess my question again is, some of the really genuine concerns we've had around light pollution. And when you were describing the design, you were saying on one side this is essentially all windows, but you didn't really talk about what it was on the residential side.
I think it was the residential side where I was explaining that, where there's that glass. And I know, only because I know you've gone through the process that was with us, that was all glass. We've taken 40% of that glass out that was open, and it's now brick. And then what is glass, I would say about 20% of that is spandrel, which actually isn't backlit or illuminated. So I'm, again, happy to sit and talk through those specifics with you as it relates, because I know we've been having an ongoing conversation.
Oh, Jennifer, you might just want to quickly go back to that slide, because it took me a minute to realize that that was the eastern side there.
Yes.
Because it shows St. Joe's.
Yeah, this
in
is,
shadow, and I don't know if that was correct.
and we can make that a building. We're trying to make the building what we're proposing visible for everybody. But when you look at it in the community, this white outline is the neighborhood buildings. This is from Loyola Avenue, looking northwest. So the CTA is over here. We're on Loyola Avenue. Campus is where you all are sitting. The lake is off to the right. This is St. Joe's. So we can turn that on and you can see how much is actually visible in the neighborhood. We're happy to put that together so you can see how that's there. And we can model other views to give that to you. So happy to be with you and walk through that.
The entrance is on what street? The entrance to that building?
It is on Loyola Avenue in Sheridan.
So what we're seeing is on Sheridan.
No, this view is in the alley that runs parallel to Sheridan. So this is facing the lake. This facade faces the lake.
So does it look, from Sheridan, what does it look like?
From Sheridan,
Yeah, from the.
this is Sheridan here. This is the Sheridan facade.
Can we show the view from Chipotle again? Because I think that was
Yeah,
most
Chipotle.
instructive as to.
Again, this is Sheridan here.
And so the entrance is on Loyola?
The entrance, the primary entrance is on Loyola. There's a secondary card access only entrance here on the northwest side, but the primary entrance is on the south side. That's where our students will be coming from. So the entrance is tucked right underneath the building here, because our students are going to be moving north-south from their residential and other classes. Yes?
It strikes me when I look at this rendering, and you can see what is now a dorm, it used to be the religious center to the right. If you look at the proportion of that to the building that you're proposing, and then you flip to the rendering where you see the shadow of the building, this looks like a monster compared to that. They don't seem to be at the same scale.
Yes, and some of that is perspective in these renderings.
I mean, it looks twice as tall here.
Sure.
And if you look at the other, it looks very good.
Yeah, I'm not trying to discount your comment. I totally get that. There is some stuff
There's
that
nothing
happens.
wrong with it, sir, but what I'd like is as someone who lives on the block to understand what it's going to look like. There's nothing wrong with me asking that. I'm allowed to ask that.
Well, you're allowed to ask that, but I'm asking why you think that's important. That's my genuine question.
All right, sir, back in the right. Yes.
I'd like to ask a few things about south of Devon, 6300 block. Broadway, you mentioned those?
Yes.
So, 6317, you mentioned that you were using about half of the space that you could use there, but that should be allotted, and you talked about it for book storage, but that's what you needed. I just want to say a storage facility is kind of the antithesis of those of us who want to enliven Broadway, see activity on Broadway. And, you know, if you want to have book storage, we don't need another storage facility. But, for instance, if you want to do book storage and you're only using half the facility, why don't you do something more enlivening in the front? Some of this gentleman mentioned student housing. You can have classrooms, you can have lecture hall, whatever. But something that enlivens the Broadway as opposed to book storage. That's one point.
Yeah. Can I respond to that?
Yes, but I want to say my second point.
Okay.
6347, you referred to the building next door, or somebody joked about the building next door, and we saw this. But that's my question too. What's happening to the workshop building where it's fire, and we all saw the building next door?
Yes. So let me address 6317. So when I talked about the storage, I was going very high level in the spirit of this conversation to be brief. But when we talk about that, there's also support services to that. There's going to be staff that are in there, and there's likely what we call a reading room, where people will come and be able to access those books. So it's not just a blank facade that somebody's just coming to on a monthly basis to move materials in and out. We'll actually have engagement and interaction with the collections that are there. So it really is an academic facility. This isn't a back-of-house storage facility.
And from a neighbor's perspective, I just want to emphasize, we like life in the street.
And as do we. We want that community because we know that's successful for us as an institution. Do you want to speak to?
Yeah, sure. So, so as you mentioned, or as we talked about, 6341 North Broadway, which was the retail space that had the pork chop restaurant in it, engulfed in flames over the weekend. That tenant was already on their way out, and so so we anticipated having a site that we would have that we would have then the ability to do something with. The fire kind of changed everything. This is kind of the world. This is like the story of our lives lately. Now we're trying to respond to it's a demolition. How we know that we will repurpose that site. I think we're trying to quickly now respond to what that will be. But acknowledging, I'm sorry?
Do you own the pork shop site?
We do own that site, yes. So we're quickly trying to react and now change our plans to respond to what that would be as a rebuild. I don't have an answer for you, but we do know we intend to rebuild there and help address
So the
some.
pork chop is gone, we can presume, and to be.
Correct, and we don't envision it being a restaurant any longer. It will likely have some type of institutional use, but we like you are.
Probably more shooting, right?
No, Lord help us, no. But we, like you, agree that activation of Broadway is good for everybody. And so we hope to find a really cool, creative way to merge some type of activation of that retail corridor and that commercial corridor with academic use as well. So I think there's some good opportunities that we have.
I just want to add on to that, I hope that can happen, because that block now there's so much potential for what could be there to what you're talking about, enliven that street.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's just Loyola glass, ugly Loyola glass.
I hear you. No ugly Loyola
glass,
building.
It's just not.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
But it's what do you want to, I mean, I guess I'll put a suggestion box, and I know I'm so sort of angry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting because there's so much potential. Like, what sort of students want to come to a campus that has that vibe? Like, get a creative person on your board there that can actually do this kind of thing. Like coffee shops, more. They all go to one. We need vibrancy, especially now, especially in this disconnected world. So that, I'm glad you addressed that book thing, because it's just like monstrosities or gravel lots.
Yep.
How can you keep letting that happen? I would love to see it not keep happening.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that feedback. I'll let Patrick continue to answer some questions.
Yeah, in the back, and then we'll go to this side.
So I have a question continuing on the thread of 6317. I'm hearing that staffing is going there along with books and a reading room. Are there certain types of collections for the library that you are anticipating going there? And when will those library partners be informed and able to be part of that conversation?
We literally just kicked that off today. So, I mean, with the library folks,
and the
provost office, and what's the library advisory board or council.
Yes.
We literally 5 hours ago, kicked that off. So we are right at the bleeding edge. What I just shared with you, I just learned 5 hours ago as what would be best to make that a functional space. We are just starting that process. We're being as forthright as we can with the community when we have the answers. Over here.
To address the lady's concern, I did that landscape, 1200 block, and landscaping the students over on the 1300 block. Like it used to be.
Perfect. Landscaping. We'll keep doing it. Thank you. Other questions? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to clarify, I thought maybe it would help envision the windows and the light pollution people worried about that. Do you think it'll be like the Norville Center? So that it has those windows, but I don't think I ever see them lit up and you can't see in through there. You know what I'm talking about, like on Loyola Avenue?
Yes.
Is it like, are they using that as kind of a...
You're talking, so we have a couple buildings over there.
Alfie.
Alfie is probably what you're talking about,
Yeah.
which is an athletic performance area with courts inside. You know, all of our systems, building-wide, because as you all probably see, because we talk about it a lot, sustainability is a huge thing for us. So we don't like to have the lights on if we don't need to. The other thing that we do is we don't want to kill birds, and we have a whole program to work through that. So there's a frit on the glass. We have automation control with shades and lighting. So it's really something we do take. I understand I don't sleep in the community in those streets. So again, that may be different. But again, anything we can do to help mitigate that, we certainly will work to. All those buildings will also have shades and blinds because that's part of the program we have to teach in there. So those are things we're considering.
But as far as you like, the design wasn't like, oh, we're going to mirror that, or we're drawing off of that Alfie to when we create.
Not specifically, no. Yes.
I live across the street from the Alfie, directly across the street, and this will not be a new topic for your staff, that the lights are on all the time. And while there are shades they are frequently knocked down. They're not on.
Your timers aren't working.
They aren't working or something. So to the rest of the community, if you're banking on automation, and they won't be on.
It's not working out.
I'm.
We'll have to look at that. Some of that could be the programmatic use of that building if it's Alfie.
It's empty.
That's-
We can see in the windows of the alley.
So like I don't understand why there aren't shades down at 7, shades up at 7 every day. I mean that would seem pretty logical.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that. I have to look at the program.
So I just want you to understand that what you think is happening there isn't happening.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
I see the photo at the bottom. Is that the building on the lakefront there? Which one?
Bottom.
This one?
Yeah.
This is a Broadway. This is 6300 Broadway.
What's the bottom photo?
This is a Broadway looking.
That's the 6317 building?
Yeah. And the whole lot.
What is my position?
No,
It's this building right here.
That's so cool. I love that.
And what is that gonna be again?
You can put it up on the screen.
That's a new building we're looking at for density storage of libraries, reading room, associated materials. Other questions? We've got two more questions. Yes.
Does Loyola University have, do they see themselves as having any responsibility to restore housing and community cultural spaces that have been taken away over years? I mean, in this plan, do they see any responsibility to the community?
Do you mean in respect to maybe losing inventory or responsibility to develop it?
To develop housing that they've taken away over years and cultural spaces.
Okay. So what I will say is this: what we view as our housing obligation is first to our students, because we recognize that many of them are living in the community
Temporarily. They're living here temporarily.
Correct, and they're taking up rental space, right? They are taking up rental space that could otherwise be going to non-Loyola students, right? We have built multi-unit commercial property and market rate rental properties. We've built the Montserrat. We've acquired other properties and maintained them as part of our inventory of rental properties around the community. So we do maintain housing in the Rogers Park and Edgewater communities, and we have developed sites along Sheridan Road and along Broadway. I would say that where our gut tells us, and we haven't officially, I guess we haven't studied this officially, but our gut tells us that if we were to house more of our students at the demand that we have, those students would be able to free up spaces within the Rogers Park and Edgewater community that would become available to residents and to community members to lease. We know that we have a greater obligation or a requirement to build residential housing on our campus proper because we're short on housing. We know we've got too many students that aren't living on campus, and we would like to fix that. So I would say that that's how we would approach a housing conversation, but through our operation of our market rate rental properties, we continue to lease to Loyola students and non-Loyola students alike. Go ahead. Oh, sorry, did you want to add something?
We have one last question. I think you had your hand up last year, sir.
I just want to say that I appreciate that you're addressing the issue of housing unaffordability in our community. And I am a little troubled by the fact that none of the proposed buildings here today are housing. I do understand that. I mean, I understand. I really do. But
I wish I had a residence hall to show you too. We really do. We know that is a need. It is an expressed need in our campus plan, and it's an expressed need within our strategic plan to to house students within our own residential housing facilities. Unfortunately, we just don't have some, we're not there. We kind of, well, I wish we could do everything at once, and obviously our financial realities, has really caused us to.
And I just want to say that not everybody that is going to Loyola is going to be a temporary resident. Thousands of college students end up deciding to stay in Chicago because it is a beautiful city, and Edgewater and Rogers Park and Uptown are beautiful communities.
Yes.
So, and also when students are here, they are adding to our economy by shopping locally. So they are not just temporary; they're not a leech on us. This is an economic driver in our community. Thank you.
We hope we appreciate that and feel the same way that our students.
And I'll tell you, because you seem very interested in this, the 18 to 24-year-old college student demographic is the most stable and long-standing demographic in Rogers Park. Right? We've seen other immigrant groups throughout the history of Rogers Park come in and move out, come in and move out, and all through that time, the 18 to 24-year-old college student has been here. So I hear your point that an individual person may be a temporary transient, but those college students are the longest demographic.
As a renter, I am just very demoralized by hearing people in my community constantly talk about renters as if we don't contribute. Does my rent not pay property taxes for my building?
I also want to add to what Kana said, and still getting at this point. I've been at Loyola 25 years. In that 25 years, Loyola has built more than 250 rental apartment units from the ground up. Like, no rental buildings were torn down to build these buildings that Kana talked about. And we were the only community organization to stand up in support of the CHA development of the Conrad on Sheridan Road, which is affordable apartment building with approximately 200 units. Don't quote me on the exact number. I went to those CHA meetings 3 times to stand in support of that building alone, because there was nobody who wanted the target, and the target, unfortunately, came with the affordable apartments. So we are there. We do see it as a responsibility. We did support that building because it was an affordable development, despite the fact that the community was in opposition to the target as an anchor tenant. We took a risk and supported the residential building above. So I just want to add that. It's a big issue. It's an important issue. We were just invited to some table conversations coming up in the spring that are about the future of housing on the north side of Chicago. We'll tell you about them when we find out more information, because they're not scheduled yet, but the email was like, would you be willing to come? And I was like, literally said to Summer, I think we need to be there. So thank you for raising that issue. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Kana. Thank everybody for their questions. We have a little bit of time left. I want to turn it over to Summer Roberts, because she's going to talk to you a little bit about what we learned.
I got married.
Oh, Summer Lawson.
We're still struggling with my last name.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Summer Lawson. Congratulations. She'll tell you a little bit about the community process that we went through last year that many of you participated in, and then a couple of community partnerships.
Good evening. So for some of you, this might be a repeat, but I think it's important to kind of set the context of the work that we've been doing over the past, 18 months or so, to really hear from the community as part of this process. So from June 20 to October 2024, our team hosted 18 different small group meetings and public pop-up events, really to gather what we call on-the-ground feedback from community members that really help us understand what the community wants and how we can address some of those needs as part of our planning. We empowered community members to plant seeds in 12 different categories of quality of life in the community. We also are promoting public participation through our online social pinpoint site and interactive map that we launched in July of 2024. And in addition, I have to say the results were really stunning in terms of just the number of individuals that participated. So we had 5,500 visits to this site, from 3,000 unique users who completed the survey or used the interactive map to place comments, ideas, and thoughts about our work. We garnered 609 survey responses and 243 comments on the map. Whether it was through paper surveys, whether it was through the map, electronic inputs, the results were pretty clear to us. Environment and climate, safety and security, as well as schools and education rounded up the top 3 priorities in all of the different methods that we use to communicate with folks and hear from them. These areas continue to be a guidepost in our planning, and they're important to us as we think about future developments. In 2024, as a direct, that slide, I should have advanced it, but it gives you the sense of the numbers that I just provided, and this image is taken from the social pinpoint site. So all of those yellow, maroon, and gold icons indicate where people either put ideas or thoughts or comments directly on the map. So as a result, in 2025, we launched 4 new partnerships that I'm looking forward to telling you about. The first partnership has been working with Roberta Schmatz, who I thought might be here. She's from Archie's Cafe. Many of you know her. Together, we brought the spirit of Archie's onto campus in what I believe is an authentic way. We heard loud and clear through the survey that Archie's sense of community was special, and I agree it's special. This resulted in a Winterfest we hosted this past December in our student union, as well as this coming Saturday. I hope y'all all will come out to Quad-a-Lotta. It's on Loyola's West Quad. That's where the name is derived from, and it's going to be a music fest from 4 to 8. Community, students, faculty, and staff are all welcome to fellowship together. That's the idea behind the work that we're doing. I'd also like to tell you about, secondly, the partnership we have with Edgewater Castle Football Club. So Edgewater Castle is a community-centered nonprofit organization. They are designed to provide low-income immigrant and refugee communities with a high-quality, highly organized, and uniquely accessible soccer experience. They currently offer free soccer programming through partnerships with the Chicago Park District, Loyola Park, and Chicago Public Schools. This summer, Loyola worked with them to bring their adult program to Point Field, which you all may know is right off Devon Avenue, and technically in West Ridge. The adult program actually recruits players from all over the world, most of whom now live in Rogers Park, and while they may not speak the same language, they all know soccer. So we're excited to have them. The season ended having secured the championship. I'm having to read this. They won the championship in the Midwest Premier League in the Heartland Conference 2nd Division, and they'll advance to the 1st Division next year for the first time in their history. And I really feel like our partnership in our home at Hoyne has helped to make that happen. I'm sure the 6 Loyola marketing interns that are also a part of their team very much have helped that effort. And then third, I should say, while it's technically not a new program in 2025, it's a continuing program. We launched First Fridays in partnership with the Rogers Park Business Alliance. Initially, it started with a grant from RTA, and we've continued to carry that program forward, co-sponsored between Loyola and RPBA. So we just had September 5th tomorrow, so if you want to come out, we're going to be at the Loyola Red Line Station out on the plaza. There'll be there'll be live music, and just a great vibe. So we hope you can come to that as well. And then lastly, but not least, fourth, I'm really excited to share the partnership that we have with CDOT to revitalize the Sheridan and Devon planter. We have entered into a maintenance agreement with CDOT, and the contract will be in place until either one of us decide to end it. So this is the ongoing partnership between Loyola and CDOT. Neighbors have told us, and I've heard here in this room, that they like more of Loyola's campus aesthetic extended into the community. And while this isn't technically Loyola's property, we are stepping in to really collaborate with the CTA to make this happen. And it might just look like a pile of dirt right now, but the plans are in motion. Just to give you a little bit of breakdown on the cost. So this agreement is around $100,000, Loyola's contribution. That includes the plantings. CTA is coming to the table with, CDOT, thank you. CDOT is coming to the table to support the infrastructure. All of the pipe irrigation system was removed / stolen from there. So that's what's kind of holding up. We're going through CDOT's procurement process so that they can get that irrigation system in the ground. We were hoping to have plantings this fall, but it's really dependent on CDOT and the irrigation system. But this is essentially what's coming. We're working with the 49th Ward Environmental Leadership Team and their pollinators group on the plants and the plantings that we're choosing to make sure that it's pollinator friendly. But we look forward to a much more beautified Sheridan Devon intersection in very near future. So thank you for your patience on that. And with that being said, I'll turn it back over to Jennifer to wrap this up, and we'll take more questions.
For a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to acknowledge Shanika and Zach from the 49th Ward office who were here. They just had to sneak out, and I apologize I didn't get a chance to thank them for coming. And I thought I saw Agnes from the 48th Ward. She might have had to sneak out as well. But I'm glad that both of our offices were here. I also want to extend my gratitude to Patrick and Kana and Summer and Cecilia for being here, and to Scarlett for recording. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for coming. We're going to stick around. Like, this is the end of our formal presentation, but some of us will be here if you want to come and ask more specific questions or comments. I think there were some things people maybe feel they didn't get satisfaction on. We'll be here for a few minutes. I do have an 11-year-old that hasn't eaten dinner yet, so keep that in mind. But thank you for coming, and we will keep doing this, and we'll just keep this process going of letting you know at the very beginning and then keeping you updated as things start moving forward. And we're going to keep trying to work, as Summer is doing, those community feedback from the surveys and the social insight point sites in on the community priorities. So thank you very much for coming.
Yes.
We have some little
pins up here. They say Loyola and they say 60660 and